So you watched this video the other day, and some other people watched it too, and I got a request to make one. So look at this giant mess going on right here. So we're started before I got the video camera out here, but it's not going to be quite the same, because when you invent something and then you're going to remake it, you have to modify, adjust, and make it a little bit better. So making our lifter or our handle very much the same way. This is going to be a quad suction cup instead of a single, mostly because that's what I could find. I couldn't find that single suction cup again, at least not readily available. So the rest of this is going to be about the same. Our winch is very similar. Our vacuum pump, somewhat different model than what we have, but a similar thing to that. And Firmer here had a fine idea. So we're going to actually mount the vacuum pump on the trolley so it rolls back and forth with the winch. That way we can avoid all the extra lines. We don't have to have lines trying to run to and from the pump, because sometimes they hold up and they hang up on things. So we're just going to make it all part of the same system. So then all we need is one power cord running up to it and we'll be good to go. So we're going to get this put together. I'll show you how we made this. So this here is where our quad suction cups are going to mount onto. That's welded onto the pipe there, and then we drilled and tapped it down through there. And then our lifting hook is going to mount there. So all the weight will be exactly in the center of the 4 suction cups. So when it lifts up, it'll lift evenly. Won't try to lean off one side or the other. We're going to run our suction line. We're using one of the automatic retractable spring type air hose lines for that. We're going to put that around the cable that comes down, so that'll control that and keep it where it belongs. Come into a fitting. These lines are going to run up through here, come out through the side, connect in here, and then back through here and come out. Going to get drilled and tapped into the side of one of these here to get vacuum into that system there. So that's what we're working on. We're going to try to get her done. Lance is trying to put RTV on that bolt, because you tap that and it's not super tight, so we're going to silicone it up really good, make sure that seals up there nicely. Got some orange paint to put on it because we painted the last one blue and it didn't seem like fun to do it the same way twice. So Lance is off to town to get parts, and I'm going to get this here put together. So these get sealer put on them, put all them in, put these on. We're going to have to drill one of these and tap it to put a little air port in there to get our vacuum into that system, but that should be pretty easy to do. Then we're going to drill some holes up here so we can run our air line through the middle of that and then pop out up here so they don't get broke running along the side. And we're going to cut that off, grind up that top edge, make it nice and smooth. Once all that's done, I think we're ready for paint. I suppose the proper plumbing thing would be to use pipe dope or tape or both, but I've got some RTV right here in front of me. I don't have to look for it, and if I used pipe dope, I would have to go find some. Ah! It's not straight because I haven't straightened it yet. It will get straight when I straighterize it. So now we have to drill and tap. I think I'm probably going to go in here, then my line can come out there and curl around and go in there. My drill press is very much a piece of junk. The handle to lift the table broke off, and the spring mechanism that's supposed to hold the head up is broke. So we have to try to make do with what we've got. But someday when I have nothing else to do, I'll buy a new drill press. So those of us that aren't smart enough to do things the right way can become the masters of cobbling things. And trying to drill off to the side, you just sort of stick a block of wood in there and it works. Alright, so we got those drilled. Now we need to elongate them. Oh, that's right. Is that a word? Elongate. So we need our pipes to come out this way instead of this way. And I don't know how a machinist would do that, but I just do it. Thinking that will work. Give her a little more. That's gonna go in up there, come out down there, and then we need to tap this so it goes in just like that right there, coming out the side here. We'll see if we can get that next. So once Lance gets from back with the proper tap, we'll drill that on out, tap that. I'm starting to realize that a single cup is a whole lot easier than a quad cup. Better, I don't know, but it would have been easier if I could have found a single one, but here's what it is. We about got this licked. Alright, now we gotta cut our handle off to the height we want it here. There we are. You gotta grind that up now, make it nice and smooth. So how did we know we wanted it that high? It just felt right. It may not be the right way to smooth out the inside of a hole, but it's right enough. There we are. I think that is now ready for paint. We're going to go ahead and paint that up. We can mount our valve on there, plumb our pipes in. We just have to wait on Lance to get that thing in there. I think we're ready to do that. Alright, first coat, first side. So if these two are going together here, this one's going here, this one's going here, and we want to run one power source up there, I don't really want to have two cords and a splitter and all that nonsense going on. So I tore this thing apart. I got this little curlicue cord here without an end on it, so I'm going to connect that into here. I'm going to chop that off, put an end on there. We can run over and plug into that. So they can be taken apart if needed, but that way when the winch is plugged in, the vacuum is plugged in as well, so it'll all just be a nice clean system here. So I happen to have this laying around, had that end laying around. I gotta buy the other end of that to plug into there, but so we're gonna see if we can get that figured out here. This side has a nice little clamp down in there, that one doesn't. I might make something so I can clamp that cord in there to keep that nice and tight. We'll see what we can get figured out here. So these go on there. I'm gonna have to cut them and solder into that, which I'd be happier if I had a little more to work with. I can't figure out how to get this board out of the way here, otherwise I could get more cord there, but I'm not sure what that's going to take. I've tried a couple of times here, but I always get a little nervous digging into these. I remember my dad saying that if you're going to dig into it, you better know how to put it back together, or if you hadn't messed with it, it wouldn't be broke. That's been a fact more often than not in my life, so hopefully we can get this back together here. Kind of a lot of messing around, but I want it to be nice and clean and not dealing with a bunch of cords and things that aren't necessary. So all right, so we can get us some more cord out of there now. We can get to our ground screw down there, so all is good. So the ground wire here is going to be hooked on under the screw right there, so I'm just going to solder the end of this a little bit because it holds it all together a lot nicer when you put it on the ground screw. So probably not 100% necessary, but it always just works a little bit nicer and makes it feel like a better connection when you're all said and done. So just like that, just a tad of solder on there. It'll sit on the screw a whole lot better now. There it is. Now we can put all of this back in, if I can remember how. Don't tell anybody we're in here mucking around with electronics on here. I would hate for somebody to think they're getting a compromised piece of equipment, but we're gonna make it work. All right, it's all together, it's all hooked up. I just need to tie that cord down right there, which I'm gonna do with this strap. You can put the cap back on. As soon as Lance gets back from town, put the end on there. Bing, bing, bang, we plug it together, plug that in, boom. One cord, one deal. It's going to be clean and quick and should work. So we plugged it in here. Kids don't do this at home. Adults, you probably shouldn't either, but we're going to test it. This is hot because I don't have the right end. It's just wired in there and that's what's on there. We're going to change it out to the proper plug, but until we get one. Apparently it works. So just change our cord in now and we'll be all done with that, ready to bolt this thing up. Good morning. So it's another day. I wouldn't actually have to tell you that because you wouldn't know one day to the next, but anyway, little bits at a time. We're getting this lifter built. So we got this put together here. So we decided to mount the pump right on the trolley like we talked about before. So that's all on there. This is on, that's welded on there. So I did those welds instead of B, so they're maybe not as pretty, but they will hold together. So that's ready to go. The suction line is gonna coil around the cable going down. So that'll keep that all nice and neat. This is painted up here. Get ready to mount this on here, and then we can plumb our lines in, our air lines. They gotta run down through there and out the holes and so on. It might be a trick to get them all through there, so that's what we're gonna do next. So I gotta go from here, in there, out the end. That's not too bad. But I had to go in this hole over here and out that hole there. Might be a bit more of a challenge. But I've been thinking about it while I was resting. I think if I reach inside of that hole, I have a very specific type of tool here. It's a little drill bit. I think I can reach in there. Woohoo, that was actually pretty easy. I'm shocked. Cool. So now we got that little hole right there that we tapped. We're gonna put this fitting into that. Just a small clue, having the right size of wrench makes it work better. Now the fun part. Run a line from there, in the hole there, and out the end down there. Or maybe we go in the end down here, I'm not sure which.
So I know it's not in full screen, but still, that almost made me airsick.
Look at me go. Shot right out the hole. Almost like I planned it that way. And there. I wish I had a way to zip tie that into there.
That won't go anywhere.
Don't make fun of my welds. He's inspectigating my work there.
Go through your airline.
Yep, no, I drilled through my airline. Somehow thought that might happen. Alright, so that's in. That. We just gotta hook that on to that end right there. And then we gotta put our suction cups on and try it. I believe that finishes off this portion of it. We're gonna have to test our valve, make sure we're hooked up to the right ports. It's quite possible we're not. That should be good there. That's hooked up there, so we're gonna turn it on and see what happens. We either have a leak somewhere or our suction cups aren't big enough. They're supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be rated for 100 pounds a piece or something like that. But I cut it on a real piece of plywood. So we're gonna throw this up in our track up here. We're gonna give it a go and see if it works. So we have happened upon a rather disastrous situation here, and it is not lifting. So we're gonna hook up our old suction cup and see if that lifts, and that'll determine if it's our pump or if it's our suction cup. Such is the life of an inventor. You try things and they don't work. So back to the drawing board on the suction cup. The rest of the handle's fine. The winch is fine. All of that's good. We just need to replace the 4 cups at the end. So we will see what we can find. I'll go down to the computer, see if I can find some of those other ones, and we'll go from there.
So it's late 30, Saturday night. I'm working on the deal for Eric, because that's when I have time, sort of. We've got our piece welded up, and since the last suction cups didn't work. We have to change our plan a little bit. New suction cup will screw it on this piece here. Vacuum source will come in here, and there's our pick point on top. That's a wrap till we get our new suction cup. Back to the track. So I've got track. We've got to get another piece yet to weld on there, but don't have that yet. So we've got these tabs here. Weld them on there, and then we can anchor to that up to the ceiling. It's going to be kind of a weird angle on whatever different pieces coming in. So weld them brackets on so we can get her mounted up. Then I'm going to take some of this flat strap here, weld on the side, and then we can join our two pieces of track together once we get our other piece of track. So we'll get her done. So the other thing we need to do is we need to put a cap on the end, because when you're rolling your piece of plywood down your track, you'd hate to roll off the end and have a vacuum pump hit you on the head. So we will get that welded on, probably take a piece of this same flat strap and cap the end of that. Patch welded on, slide our other piece of track in there once we get it. Cap welded on. Well, it is that time. So I'm calling her a night. Pretty happy with that. I think the next thing is when we get our next piece of track. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.